Southern Europe today is not on the wish list of many of the investors. But again, here is where scale and track record and people on the ground and platform comes into play. If you're able to keep the income coming, renew, release the properties, if they're well located, and if we can give our view of the location, then, and if it's at the right price.
I made a kind of list before coming this morning about certain locations that are outside of the kind of main ports and the really obvious places that are either sub 5 or sub 10% vacancy rate. And you've got places like Barcelona, Munich, Rotterdam, and also Stuttgart in particular, to find new sites and get product anywhere around Stuttgart, the manufacturing hub of Germany. Whether you're an occupier, developer, or you spend your life looking. So there are really constrained markets. I also wrote down, kind of in terms of sub 10%, Lyon, as a regional French market. That's now had a lot of supply soaked up, sub 10%. Milan, Prague, the inner kind of Warsaw ring. I'll put down Berlin as well. These are not necessarily top headline locations, but they've all got great supply dynamics. And there's probably another, half dozen to a dozen locations like that, which aren't country specific.
Yeah, I would agree to all of these names, maybe apart from Berlin, where I think there is a lot of land supply into Berlin, but definitely the rest is something that is worth looking at.
Yeah, and I think it's a key point. I mean, to look at sort of country macro picture and sort of make a judgment based on that is, I think, a bit missing the picture. I mean, you need to look at the sub-markets. I mean, real estate is a local business, and as the point's been made, Barcelona is doing fine, even if the rest of Spain's not doing well, and that's exactly the case across all real estate markets around the world. I mean, you need to look at the local dynamics as much as the macro picture,
it's
if not more.
Sorry, we spoke about e-commerce earlier, and James, you mentioned Stuttgart. We actually bought an Amazon warehouse in Pforzheim near Stuttgart, and you're exactly right. I think what you saw there is that Amazon had a certain, because of the employment that they generate and so on, they managed to get land that otherwise would never have been available. But it also shows that location is also hugely important to these people, and they can manage to get some locations that other logistics operators would otherwise not be able to access.
I mean, that's the prime end, just as another example around Stuttgart, to just plug one of our sales. I mean, but it's a good example of how the market. It's a good example of how the market prices.
We'll be the judge of that.
We've got a reasonable sized building in the kind of 30-40 million euro lot size in a Stuttgart location, Greater Stuttgart region location, which has got great underlying fundamentals around the economy of the area and supply and demand. The building itself is not standard logistics. It's got a bit of R&D in there. It's got a high bay element to it. Now, okay, we spoke about the need for building fundamentals. That's now priced at 10%, something like that. In a location like that, which is completely restricted, that starts to look good value, I'd say, for investors outside of standard logistics. And within the logistics community, people are looking at that and going, well, that's actually, kind of replacement cost. It's got income on it for 6-7 years.
And for
yeah, well, exactly. Exactly. I'm just highlighting that the spread moves out once it doesn't tick the certain number of dock levelers that you need per side and the yard footage and the ceiling heights. Suddenly the yield moves out massively, and I think there's a bit of adjustment that needs to happen in that part of the market, or is being considered anyway.